Colonel Miri now joins us live from Tel Aviv, and Colonel Eisen is Senior Fellow at the ICT, the International Institute for Counterterrorism. Thanks for joining us on the show. Let me first allude to what we just heard from Prime Minister Netanyahu. Now, while Israel had earlier said that the move in the buffer zone was quote-unquote temporary and defensive, the Prime Minister now says that Israeli troops would remain there until another solution, ensuring Israel's security is found. In fact, the Minister of Defense, Katz, also spoke of the importance of quote-unquote completing preparations for the possibility of a prolonged presence. My question here is, where is this headed? When will Israel feel safe, or rather, what would make it feel safe?
We're after October 7th of 2023. We didn't expect that one, and I say that in a very cynical way. After 14 months of fighting both against Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad in the Gaza Strip, against Hezbollah up north. So you ask me, what will make us feel safe? Right now, I wish for Syria a better future. I am very happy for them that they do not have the barbaric dictator Bashar al-Assad and what was done there and what was exposed there. For Israel right now, the question is, HTS, as you've been talking about it, al-Julani, now rebranding himself in his old name, Ahmed al-Shara, what is he about? If we're talking about something that's about Syria, I think that that's both what both the Prime Minister and Defense Minister alluded to, then we will arrive at some kind of arrangement. It's about Syria. We're going to have a border with them, and we will agree on what that line will be. But what if HTS is still about what it used to say it was, which is the destruction both of the West and of Israel? Inside Syria, you have a lot of different jihadi Islamist groups that are part of the coalition that overthrew Bashar al-Assad. As I said, I want nothing but the best for the Syrian people. But some of those groups most definitely define themselves as wanting to destroy Israel. We need to continue to protect ourselves. We have a 90-kilometer border with Syria.
Colonel Eisen, you did speak of HTS, the current leadership, and al-Julani. Now, with France, Germany, Italy, the UK holding talks with the new leadership in Syria, and even Turkey and Qatar, with the reopening of embassies in Damascus, have signaled a move in the positive direction, rather, as regards to communication and future relationship with the new regime in Syria. How do you view this? How does this bode for Israel? What is Israel's stance on the new leadership right now as we speak?
As we speak, we are very hopeful for the Syrian people. And as we speak, we are going to be sure that we don't make the mistake that we did beforehand on our other borders, meaning we're going to be prepared. So I think it's wonderful that the different European countries are advancing that. Let's hope that for the Syrian people. And if we arrive at something which is like that, as both the Prime Minister and Defense Minister said, as I say, then I'm more than happy to arrive at some kind of a resolution. But until we see where it's going, and you heard before the special envoy of the United Nations himself saying that it's still unclear where Syria will go. Syria is a very diverse country that has a lot of different factions. And right now, I'm very happy for them, and I hope they stabilize and build a wonderful country. And right now, we're going to be sure that we're not the first ones to make the overtures to something like HTS. HTS had in its charter things that are very, very similar, both to al-Qaeda and for that matter to Hamas. And we were, could you say, slightly burned? We wanted to believe, and look at what happened. So I think that taking our stance is one which is responsible, it's open, but it's not taking chances.
You spoke of the diversity in Syria, and that brings me to the minority question in Syria. al-Julani says there wouldn't be divisions in Syria, but we are seeing clashes as recently as the ones between the Turkish-backed and the Kurdish groups in the north. Again, what's Israel's relationship with the minorities here? How do you expect Israel handling that?
So the main minorities inside Syria are representative all over the Middle East, including inside Israel. There's the Druze minority, that they border the Israeli areas more, and there's no question that that's going to be an interesting relationship. We have a Druze minority. Lebanon has a Druze minority. The Kurds are further away. We don't border them, but there are Jewish Kurds. Most of them immigrated to Israel in the last 75 years from Syria and from Iraq. So there are relations there, both with the Kurds and with the Druze, but the bulk of Syria, over 55%, used to be Sunni Muslims, and within them you can have those that are focused on building Syria and those who are jihadi Islamists, and I don't yet know who will have the upper hand. We don't have relations with the Islamists. Of course, they call for our destruction. I think we do have under relations that we've always had with Druze. You can have a dialogue. With the Kurds, you can have a dialogue. But let's see where Syria goes. They used to incorporate them all, but they incorporated them as a minority that didn't really have a strong voice. They were protected by the horrific dictator. And I don't know what Syria is going to look like tomorrow morning, and we're not the ones who are going to be in the forefront of deciding what Syria looks like. We're waiting and looking and hoping for them for the best.
Colonel Miri Eisen, thank you so much for your time and joining us on the show and for your insightful thoughts.
As always, a pleasure. Thank you so much.